Hi everybody! Welcome back to Homemade and Homegrown. My name is Tammy, for those of you who do not know me. I'm in the kitchen again today. We are going to be canning pumpkin so I can make fresh pumpkin pie. So we'll see you in a minute. So these are the pumpkins that I'm going to be using. These are sweet pumpkins. So these are the ones that you're going to use to make your pumpkin pies with. Not the big pumpkins that you would get, say, for like the jack-o'-lanterns for decoration or things like that. You can roast those seeds though. So, and I have heard of people canning those types of pumpkins, but they didn't find it as nice tasting, I guess, as sweet. So these are the ones I'm going to be washing these and getting them cut up, and then we're going to put them in the pot and boil them for 2 minutes. After that, we're going to fill them up in the jars and get pressure canning. Okay, we're going to wash these. Even though I'm cutting the peeling off, I'm still kind of wash the outside. Now be careful when you're cutting these. The easiest way is to cut the top off, the stem off, and very carefully cut this off. I have a bum hand, and that's my right hand, and I do everything with my right hand. I had an accident years ago where my hand went through a patio glass door and it sliced my wrist. Now I'm going to save those seeds. Some are going to be for planting and some for roasting. And the rind and everything I'm going to give to my chickens. Okay, so the next step is, in order to get in here really good, is I like to already start cutting the walls until I get to the base of the pumpkin on the bottom. And then I'm going to break them, like peel them down. Like so. Oh, that smells so good. Now, I didn't grow these, but the farm up the road did. So I'm going to there we go. Okay, and then I'm going to take a spoon to scrape this off into the bowl. And these are pretty mature because they're kind of stringy, but that's the variety. That's for pies. There we go. And then what we're going to do after this is I'm going to peel the skin off, and then we're going to cut it up in 1-inch cubes. Okay, so I'm going to take my peeler So I'll continue doing that and then I will bring you right back. Okay, now we're going to cut these into 1-inch cubes. Okay, I'll cut the rest of them up and put them in my bowl here. So last night I had peeled and cut up 4 pumpkins already. So I've still got to cut up these 3. But I'm going to get these started so that I can get them going in the canner. Now it's telling me on the food preservation to boil them for 2 minutes. But because these are very mature pumpkins, I have to be careful that they don't get too mushy. They don't recommend canning mashed up or pureed pumpkin. It's not safe. Okay, so we're gonna cover these up with water. Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna bring these to a boil. And like I said, it says 2 minutes, but I just feel like they're gonna really break down easily because of how mature this is, like stringy. So we'll see what it looks like at the 1 minute mark. Okay, everyone. I let it boil for probably more like 1.5 minutes because I was getting a little leery. I don't want it too soft because that's what they're saying. So we're going to scoop these into the quart jars, and I have a funnel here that shows what my measurements are. So they want you to leave a 1-inch headspace. Well, that will be right down to the bottom because this says 3/4. So a full 1 inch is right at the rim. They say be careful not to smash them down, so just kind of let them lightly fall in. I do have a little chopstick here that I will be moving some of the pumpkins around because I'll be adding the water from this to the can to cover it up. That looks pretty good. So 1 quart, when you're baking, 1 quart is going to be enough for your pie, like a 9-inch pie for your recipe. Just going to put a few more in there. Okay, now I'm going to fill it up with some water. So we'll ladle this water into it. And you fill it up to that 1-inch headspace. And I've got my pressure canner starting to warm up. Did I put too much? Nope. The recipe that I found online tells you to use them in hot jars. You can do that, but then when I went onto the food preservation website to find what their safety guidelines were, they didn't say anything about putting it in hot jars. They said cube the pumpkin, boil it for 2 minutes, and then place them in the jar. So these are not hot jars. So I'm going to take some vinegar here, wipe the top, make sure there's no food particles up on the top of the rim here. And then I'm going to put a top on and then a ring on, and it's fingertip tight, and that is hot. So that's what it looks like. We're going to put that in the canner and get all these filled up. So they said for 7 quarts, it's probably going to take about 16 pounds of tomatoes, of pumpkins. I've been doing so many tomatoes the last while that I feel like I'm all tomatoed out. But yeah, 16 pounds, so that's equating to probably more like three medium-sized pie pumpkins. So I'm not like totally mashing these down, I'm just pushing them down a bit to get into the jar, and then I can decide whether I should add like a couple more cubes. Well, that's good right there. So I'll get these filled up and put inside the pressure canner. You cannot water bath can these, you have to pressure can. So I'm going to put them in the pressure canner, and as soon as I get that filled up, I'll bring you right back. There we go. So we've got 7 quarts of pumpkin inside. I made a mental note that in order to get 7 of these, I needed 4 medium-sized. Now I said earlier 3. That was 4 medium-sized pumpkins. Okay, I also want to make a note that inside there is a watermark of how much water to put inside. So I'm going to put the lid on. Now mine is a dial gauge, not a weighted gauge. So what that means, I have to pressure can this at 11 pounds of pressure, which shows on my dial. I'll show you here in a second. But I'm going to put the lid on. Okay, press down on that, and then I'm going to turn up the heat. Sorry about that, the dog got barking. Okay, so I've turned up the heat to high. It's already been warming up anyway, so. Okay, so this is a dial gauge pressure canner. And so I have to go by, let's see if I can get you close there. The indication there of 10 to 11 pounds of pressure. So I have to keep the needle there for 90 minutes. This has to pressure can for 90 minutes. So first off, this is going to come to a boil. And when I see the steam coming out of this vent pipe, and this pressure gauge is popped up, it pops up, I'm going to let that steam vent for 10 full minutes. Once I have the 10 full minutes done, then I'm going to put this weight, and I'm going to put it on like that. This is going to build up pressure, and the dial is going to start moving up to the 10, 11 pounds of pressure. So I have to keep it at 11 pounds. Once it gets to the 11 pounds, then I'm going to put the timer on for 90 minutes. So there we go, 90 minutes. The timer went off, and I brought them over here to the table and pulled them out of the pressure canner, and this is what they look like. That looks good, and I can't wait to be able to use them to make fresh pumpkin pies, tarts, things like that. Okay, so I've got another batch to do, so I'm going to get them in the canner, and I'm just going to be doing the exact same thing, and yeah. So I want to thank you for stopping by and watching me can pumpkin today. And if you have any comments or questions, I'd love to see them. And if you haven't already, maybe subscribe to the channel if you like the content. Like the video, share it. You know, it all goes a long way. It helps get me out there and other people viewing my videos. So I really appreciate it when people come to my channel and watch the videos to their entirety. I try to be quick videos. I try to be quick and easy so that it's not coming across as something that's hard to do. So anyway, thanks again for stopping by at Homemade and Homegrown, and we will see you next time in the next video. God bless and have a wonderful week. Bye for now.